Welcome to the HFY Tales channel. Remember to like and subscribe if you like the story. Enjoy and take care.
Amelia awoke to the unfamiliar sensation of cold metal digging into her wrists. Blinking against the harsh glare of bioluminescent stone, she became acutely aware of her surroundings. A towering sacrificial pillar loomed above her, its ancient inscriptions shimmering with an otherworldly glow. Tendrils of strange, bioluminescent plants snaked around its base, casting erratic shadows on the rocky ground. The scent of alien flora filled the air, mingling with a hint of electric tension, the anticipation of ritual. Below her, a crowd of alien beings gathered, their eyes fixated on her with a mix of reverence and insatiable curiosity. Their skin glistened with hues of teal and violet, uniquely adapted for the planet's vivid landscape. Chants resonated through the air, an eerie melody that echoed the deep-rooted traditions of this strange world. "Why am I here?" Amelia murmured, her voice barely breaking through the din. Panic began to claw at her throat as memories flooded back. The spaceship malfunction, the crash landing, and the moment she was captured by the native inhabitants. Resolutely, she yanked at the chains binding her to the pillar, testing their strength. She wasn't going to go down without a fight. Though fear gripped her heart, there was something else coursing through her veins, defiance. With each tug, she recalled her life on Earth, her ambitions, her friendships, and the love she had left behind. "You will not take me," she whispered fiercely to herself. The urge to survive burned brighter than the chains that bound her. The crowd murmured, and their chants grew louder as they prepared for the ritual, their voices harmonizing in a haunting blend. Amelia's heart raced as a figure pushed through the throng, tall and striking with defined features. His alien armor gleamed under the light, accentuating a muscular frame. The moment their eyes met, a jolt of electricity sparked between them, a mixture of confusion, intimidation, and an inexplicable connection. "Human," he declared, his voice resonant and calm like thunder rolling across the night sky. "You are to be offered to the Ascended." "Offer me." Amelia spat, squaring her shoulders. "You'll have to kill me first." The alien's eyes widened in what could only be described as surprise. He stepped closer, drawn in by her fierceness. "You are brave, but bravery does not save you here. Tradition dictates the sacrifice. The gods require it." As he spoke, Amelia could see the conflict in his gaze, a flicker of doubt that hinted he wasn't entirely comfortable with the ritual. Beneath the hard exterior of this alien warrior, there was a glimmer of something more, a spark of humanity. "Is there no way to challenge this tradition?" she asked, the words igniting a flame of hope within her. The warrior hesitated, glancing toward the crowd that began to stir with impatience. "It is not my place to question. I am simply here to carry out my duty." "Duty?" she echoed, incredulous. "What about your choice? You're not a mindless soldier." The warrior studied her for a moment, as if weighing her words against the norms of his society. In that fleeting moment, the world around them faded, and Amelia sensed a shift within him, a fracture in the facade of rigid customs. "Perhaps you are right," he finally replied. "But questioning is not without peril, human." With a final glance towards the crowd, he stepped away, leaving Amelia chained to the pillar, but igniting a fire of rebellion in her spirit. No longer just a sacrifice, she was resolved to become an agent of change, not only for herself but for the alien she had just met. Days passed as Amelia remained chained to the sacrificial pillar, each moment stretching into eternity. At first, desperation and fear coursed through her veins, shadows creeping in from the fringes of her mind. She could hear the whispers of the alien spectators, their eyes glimmering with a strange mix of interest and reverence towards her. There was something terrifying yet fascinating about their presence. It made her feel both like prey and an inadvertent celebrity. As the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in hues of orange and violet, Amelia's thoughts began to turn inward. Her heart ached for home, the laughter of her friends, the warmth of a familiar embrace. She pictured her parents' faces, the concerned expressions she'd have to leave behind if she didn't escape this fate. Motivation surged. She refused to become a tale of tragedy, a chapter in the history of the bicentennial sacrificial rite. Every evening, Benjamin visited her, his presence a double-edged sword. He was the one who had brought her to this imprisonment, yet he had also shown glimpses of hope. On the third day, he arrived under the cover of twilight, his imposing form silhouetted against the radiant colors of the sky. "You shouldn't be here," she said, her voice a mixture of frustration and longing. "You're risking something. For me." Benjamin shrugged, his jaw tight. "There's little I can do that does not risk something. Your presence here has turned my world upside down." With that admission, Amelia felt the weight of their predicament shift. He wasn't just a soldier of tradition. He was a creature capable of feeling, pondering, and potentially rebelling against the status quo. "Tell me about your world," she urged, the chains rattling softly as she leaned toward him. "What does it mean to live here, in this culture?" He hesitated, as if to sift through his thoughts. The Ashmar worship the Ascended, believing that sacrifice is necessary to ensure peace and prosperity for our people. We fear the wrath of the celestial beings, for they have left our world charred in their wake before. But do you truly believe that? Amelia pressed, her spirit ignited by the opportunity to question. Is fear really the only way to live? His brows furrowed, and for a moment, she could see the internal struggle reflected in his eyes. Fear is a powerful motivator, human. It keeps us safe from dangers we may not understand. And so you chain me to this pillar, believing that your tradition is your safety? There was a moment of silence, the air thick with tension. Benjamin stepped closer, his tone shifting to something softer, more contemplative. "Perhaps it is time to rethink that safety. You have sparked a fire within me, one I had thought extinguished long ago." She could sense the sincerity in his voice, a catalyst for the change she desperately wanted. "Then let's create a new tradition, one that embraces life instead of fear. This could be your chance to challenge the expectations and stand for something different." Benjamin looked away, the uncertainty casting a shadow over his handsome features. To defy tradition is to invite disapproval and chaos. I cannot simply abandon the customs of my people. "Why not? You are more than your people's rituals. Think of what we might accomplish together." Desperation fueled the urgency in her voice, making Benjamin's resolve falter. She reached up to the chain binding her to the pillar, willing him to see beyond the facade of tradition. "I could help you, show you how different our worlds are and what we could achieve if we combined our strengths." For a long moment, he studied her intently, and the memories of his past loomed over him like ominous clouds. He clenched his fists. "I have considered what you said, but it may not be my choice alone." "You need to be the one to start," Amelia insisted, her eyes locking with his. "I can't be a piece of sacrifice. If you stand with me, we can change the course of our destinies." Finally, he looked back towards the alien crowd, who were growing restless, and then back at her. The light in her eyes was undeniable. "You may have changed something in me, human. I will come back tonight. Perhaps we can find a way to spark more than just words." With that, he stepped back, and the weight of the moment lingered between them, the energy of burgeoning hope igniting in the dim light. As Benjamin vanished into the twilight, Amelia felt a renewed sense of determination. There was still a chance they could rewrite history together. As night cloaked the alien landscape, Amelia's heart surged with a mix of anxiety and excitement. She awaited Benjamin's return, the consciousness of her impending fate both a weight and a catalyst. The stars above sparkled brightly against the inky night, illuminating a world that felt as foreign as it was captivating. She didn't have to wait long before Benjamin reappeared. His silhouette cut a striking figure against the glowing flora that surrounded the sacrificial pillar. This time, he approached with a newfound intensity, eyes aflame with purpose. "Tell me, human," he began, his voice low and commanding. "How do you view our gods and the sacrifice?" Amelia took a deep breath, drawing strength from the moment. "I believe that gods, if they exist, should not require violence or suffering. Sacrifices should be acts of love and unity, not fear and dread." He seemed taken aback by her words. The weight of them hung heavily in the air. "You do not understand the consequences of defying the Ascended," he replied. "Our society has lived under the shadow of their might for centuries." "I understand more than you think. We all face our own shadows, she countered, her voice firm. But it is not in submission that we find strength. It's in standing together, fighting for what is right, and creating a future free of fear. The silence stretched between them, taut with unspoken emotions. Benjamin shifted, his posture softening as he processed her words. "You have spirit," he finally said, admiration glinting in his eyes. "But I must face the reality of my people's beliefs." Amelia took a step closer, emboldened by his receptiveness. "Then show me your reality. Help me understand it fully. Tell me about the Ascended, your customs, and also what you dream for your people." Benjamin regarded her with a mixture of intrigue and caution. The Ascended were once our protectors, resembling giant beings of light. They were said to have saved us from annihilation, but demanded a tribute, a sacrifice to demonstrate our faith. A continuous cycle of violence. She shook her head, the frustration bubbling up within her. How can any of this be sustainable? "Because it is all we know," he replied, his tone laced with an edge of despair. "To question it is to invite calamity. Our history is built on the sacrifices of countless lives, including my ancestors. It has become our truth." "But it need not be," she argued, eyes blazing with determination. "Truth can change. You hold power over your own choices, Benjamin. If you believe there is a better way, you can lead your people toward it." He studied her intently, weighing her conviction against the weight of tradition that bound him. "And what of you, human? Passion is a spark, but it can also ignite flames that consume everything. If I choose to fight against my culture, what guarantee do I have that I won't lose you?" Amelia's breath caught in her throat at his raw vulnerability. His question echoed through the silence of the night, and she knew that her mere presence had become a beacon of hope, a path intertwining their fates in unimaginable ways. "Then we adapt together," she replied, her heart racing. "If we fight the tradition as one, we can replace fear with unity." She reached out, her hand brushing his arm, an intimate connection that sent a jolt of energy between them. "I want to help you, not only for myself, but for your people. Together, we can forge a new way." An uncertain smile flickered across Benjamin's lips, a sudden shift from his stoic demeanor. "Then let us devise a plan, Amelia. The question is how to make them see the truth behind our connection." "The way forward may require courage," she said, her eyes shining with hope. "We can share our stories, inspire them to view the ritual differently. If we present ourselves not as foes, but as proof of unity, perhaps we can ignite change." Benjamin considered her words, the tension dissipating between them. Can they accept a bond between a human and an alien? The fear of the unknown runs deep. "Fear can be overcome," she insisted, her spirit unwavering. "If we show them our strength, maybe they'll see that love transcends species and customs." Their exchange hung in the air, a promise of something more profound than a quick escape from duty. In that moment, they began to build a bridge between two worlds. Suddenly, a commotion erupted from the crowd gathered at a distance. Benjamin's expression shifted, his focus honing sharply. "They grow restless. We must move quickly before they see us together." He turned to look back at the throng, the alien beings impatiently whispering and casting furtive glances in their direction. Their determination would soon be tested. "Meet me at the edge of the forest after moonrise," he instructed, urgency creeping into his tone. "We will begin to share our stories and devise a plan." As he stepped away, Amelia felt the warmth of his touch linger on her skin, a reminder that their fates had intertwined. She watched him disappear into the darkness, knowledge rippling through her steady heart. A bond was forming, and together, they would challenge the very fabric of their worlds. The moon hung high in the night sky, casting its silvery light upon the landscape as Amelia ventured toward the edge of the forest. The anticipation coursing through her veins pulsated with each step. Underneath the canopy of stars, she could almost feel the earth humming with potential, a promise of change awaiting her grasp. As she reached the meeting point, her heart raced at the sight of Benjamin silhouetted against the glowing trees, a sentinel of strength. He turned as she approached, his piercing gaze softening at her presence. "Amelia," he greeted, voice low as if to shield their meeting from the ears of the gods watching overhead. "You came." "I promised, didn't I?" she replied, a warm smile breaking across her face. "I wouldn't miss this opportunity. Together, we can create something extraordinary." Benjamin regarded her with a depth of emotion that transcended words, the weight of his earlier doubts still lurking in the back of his mind. "The path ahead is fraught with uncertainty. I fear the consequences of my choice if I admit my feelings for you and the hope you represent." "What we're doing is greater than ourselves, Benjamin," Amelia said softly, sensing his conflict and the flicker of understanding. "With everything we share, we can carve a new tradition, one that embraces life and unity." He nodded, but a frown creased his brow as he contemplated her words. "Then let us start with the stories of our worlds," he proposed, stepping closer, the space between them electrifying with potential. "If I can understand your world better, I may be able to convince my people to listen." "Okay," she agreed, catching her breath at the intensity of his gaze. "I'll start." Amelia took a deep breath and began to recount her life on Earth. She shared anecdotes of laughter with friends, peaceful afternoons spent at the beach, the vibrant colors of autumn leaves, and the mundane struggles of life that felt trivial compared to the dangers she now faced. "In my world, we have our own fears," she explained, her voice steady yet tinged with nostalgia. "Fear of losing loved ones, fear of never living up to expectations, fear of being alone. But amid all that, we've also built communities that support and uplift one another. It's about connection, you see. We value life and the bonds we create." Benjamin listened closely, his expression revealing the mixture of fascination and contemplation. "You have a world rich with meaning," he said after a moment. "Tell me more about these bonds. What do you do when you love someone?" She felt her heart flutter, caught off guard by the question. "You cherish them, fight for them, and lift them up when they falter. Love is powerful. It gives you strength to confront fears rather than submit to them. Wouldn't you say it's worth celebrating?" His gaze deepened, and for a moment, Amelia could sense a silent understanding passing between them, a connection forged in shared vulnerability. "Your words resonate deeply," he admitted. "But can love truly conquer the traditions that bind us? In my society, emotions are often deemed weaknesses. We are trained to suppress them in favor of loyalty to our customs. Yet you're here," she pointed out, stepping closer to him, her resolve hardening. "You're questioning the traditions of your people. Isn't that a sign that love has a place in your heart?" For an extended moment, silence enveloped them, threaded with an intensity that made her pulse race. Benjamin's breath hitched, and she could see the battle waging within him. "Tell me," he finally said, voice trembling slightly, "what does love feel like for you?" Amelia smiled warmly, her heart swelling. "It's an overwhelming force. It can bring joy and pain, but it's also a willingness to be vulnerable with another person. It's an adventure to explore, even when it's scary." She felt her cheeks color at her own confession, the atmosphere heavy with sincerity. Benjamin's expression softened, and a flicker of something deeper danced in his eyes. "We do not experience love the same way," he said slowly, "but I am learning, treading the delicate line between my duty and my feelings for you. Amelia is terrifying." He stepped closer, their proximity magnifying the intoxicating tension between them. "You don't have to walk alone," she whispered, heart hammering in her chest. "Let's challenge the norms together. Let's inspire others to join us in this journey." His gaze fell to her lips, and for a heartbeat, the world around them faded from existence. "And if they were to reject me?" he asked quietly. "If they choose to condemn rather than understand?" "Then we show them the truth through our actions," she said, feeling bold, reaching up to cup his cheek. "Your bravery inspires me, and I'll stand by you no matter the outcome. I believe in what we can become together." With a hesitant breath, Benjamin leaned in, the tension between them sparking into an electric current. Their lips met softly, an unexpected collision of desire and uncertainty. In that moment, both fear and hope intertwined as the kiss deepened, echoing the promise of a future they hadn't yet dared to dream. Pulling back, he searched her eyes, the weight of the kiss anchoring their intertwined fates. "Together, we will change the course of our legends," he vowed. "You will be my strength, and I will follow where love leads us." With a sense of newfound purpose, they stepped back from the precipice of uncertainty, ready to face what lay ahead. The day of the ritual loomed over Amelia and Benjamin like a dark cloud ready to unleash its storm. Tension pulsed within the air as the alien crowd began to gather around the sacrificial pillar, their chants mixing with the sounds of rustling foliage. It was a cacophony of tradition that threatened to drown out the hope they had forged together. Amelia paced in the shadows of the forest, adrenaline coursing through her veins. "We have to act today, Benjamin. I can't do this alone." Her heart raced with the gravity of their mission, the stakes higher than ever. "We have to confront them with our bond." Benjamin appeared beside her, a fierce determination etched into his features. "We will show them that love transcends the boundaries of species. But first, we must make them understand the depths of our connection." He stepped closer, and Amelia felt the heat radiating from him, igniting her emotions as the reality of their mating began to settle in. The kiss they had shared days ago was not just an act of rebellion. It had awakened something profound within them, a force that pulsed now at their very cores. "I want you, Amelia," he confessed, his voice raspy with longing. "In every sense. If we are to challenge tradition, we must come together, not just in spirit, but physically. Our mating can solidify our bond and strengthen our resolve." A shiver of exhilaration coursed through her at his declaration. "Yes, let's make this real. Let the energy of our union be the spark that ignites the change we seek." As they stepped deeper into the moonlit clearing, the world around them faded into the background. It was as if time had come to a standstill. The forest thrummed with anticipation, the rhythmic sounds of nature blending with their heartbeats. They moved toward each other with an urgency that dissolved any remaining barriers, guided by an instinct deeper than they had ever known. "First, we must share our essences," Benjamin said, his voice dropping to a husky whisper as he took her hands in his, warming her skin. "It is a ritual in my culture, a binding that marks the beginning of a journey together." Amelia nodded, breathless as she felt the weight of what was to come. "Then let us perform it, and may it be a testament to what we can create." As they performed the sacred act of sharing their essences, the air crackled with energy, intertwining their souls. Amelia felt Benjamin's power coursing through her, an intoxicating mixture of strength and vulnerability. With each heartbeat, they drew closer, their worldly concerns melting away, leaving only the pure, undeniable drive of their passion. The moment their bodies entwined, something miraculous unfolded. Their connection deepened beyond the physical, resonating through every fiber of their beings. They were two worlds colliding, breaking the barriers of fear and tradition. Amelia reveled in the sensation of their mating, feeling every pulse of energy as if it were the heartbeat of the universe itself. As the intensity of their union reached its peak, they were enveloped in a radiant glow, illuminating the surrounding trees, as if the very stars had joined in their sacred bond. The energy wrapped around them like a warm embrace, welding their destinies together. In that moment of ecstasy, they exchanged promises without words, a vow to fight against the traditions that threatened to consume them, a commitment to mold a new existence forged in love and understanding. But as they stepped back to reality, reality crested like a wave, crashing upon their euphoria. The sounds of the crowd drew closer, their chants spiraling into a frenzy. Benjamin and Amelia exchanged determined glances, their hearts pounding not just from the aftermath of their union, but from the battle ahead. "Are you ready?" he asked, voice steady but laced with urgency. "With you by my side, I am ready for anything," she replied, intertwining her fingers with his, a tangible reminder of their commitment. With newfound strength, they advanced toward the sacrificial pillar, a young couple bound not only by passion but by purpose. Whatever awaited them in front of the crowd, they would meet it together, and their love would challenge the very foundations of the beliefs that sought to tear them apart. As Benjamin and Amelia emerged into the clearing, the thrumming pulse of the alien assembly became deafening. Chants filled the air like a tempest, insisting on the ritual's continuation. Eyes widened as they caught sight of the two of them, the alien crowd murmuring and shifting uneasily at the sight of their defiance. "Look!" a voice shouted from the throng. "The human and the warrior dare to stand together." Undeterred, Benjamin stepped forward, bringing Amelia with him, their fingers intertwined, a visual manifestation of their union. "People of the Ashmar," he called out, his voice booming in the charged atmosphere. "We stand before you not just as human and alien, but as proof that love can transcend our differences." Gasps rippled through the crowd as they processed the sight before them. Unsure expressions filled the faces of the aliens, who had been raised with the belief that their traditions were unbreakable. "Our union carries a power that challenges our history," Amelia declared, her heart racing yet filled with courage. "We are not enemies of your customs, but rather advocates for a new tradition, one that celebrates life instead of death." An elder, stepping forward with skepticism etched into every wrinkle of his face, challenged their bold proclamation. "You presume to speak for the Ascended? You toy with powers you do not understand." "Do we not understand?" Benjamin replied, his voice firm. "Then let us share our stories. Let us show you the beauty of love that brings unity instead of fear." The crowd murmured, torn between centuries of belief and the magnetic energy radiating from the couple before them. In that moment, Amelia and Benjamin shared more of their lives, stories of laughter, loss, and the resilience of love that could surmount any challenge. As they spoke, the tension began to shift, and Benjamin's commanding presence drew individuals from the crowd closer. There appeared a sense of wonder as they saw not just the human and the alien, but a shared destiny unfolding before their eyes. "Are we to cling to fear?" Benjamin implored. "Or shall we embrace the possibility of a new bond between our peoples?" The murmurs grew louder, whispers of agreement threading through the assembled crowd. Their faces shifted as they processed the story shared, and slowly, some began to step forward, finding courage in the authenticity of the union before them. At that moment, Benjamin realized the potential for a monumental shift. They had started a conversation that could change the course of their worlds. Many of us fear the Ascended, but we can also choose to redefine our relationship with them. One voice called from the crowd, a young alien who had once viewed the ritual as an inevitable fate. "What if we prove that love is stronger than fear?" Cheers erupted as the audience rallied behind this newfound hope, but the momentum began shifting dangerously towards those who clung to traditional beliefs. The rumblings of dissent echoed through the throng, a reminder that not everyone accepted change readily. "Do not be seduced by their lies," shouted a faction leader. "This is a betrayal of tradition that will lead to our ruin." Before Amelia or Benjamin could respond, the cries of dissent intensified, and chaos threatened to break loose. In that moment, Amelia's heart raced. "We need to escape before it turns deadly," she urged. "Then we fight together," Benjamin declared, igniting the power they had felt together during their mating. In that very act, they had forged a bond that inspired raw energy coursing between them and rippling outward. Drawing upon their connection, they faced the opposing faction as one. Their collective strength inspired courage in the rebels they had swayed. "Love has no bounds," they proclaimed, raising their voices together. With newfound support, they strategized a path through the crowd. Amelia and Benjamin led the charge, drawing on the energy from their union as they sprinted toward the forest. Alien warriors who once believed their customs unassailable now recognized the potential to reshape their destinies alongside them. As the chaos erupted behind them, they raced deeper into the woods, disappearing into the embrace of the forest shadows. Their hearts raced both from exertion and the thrill of possibilities now unfolding. "We did it," Amelia gasped, slowing to catch her breath, leaning against a tree for support. "We changed their minds." "Not all," Benjamin replied, his expression turning grave as he scanned the horizon. "They will not stop trying to reestablish the old ways." "But we're ready for them," she asserted, standing tall. "With everything we've forged, we can rally our allies, both human and alien. We're not just fighting for ourselves, we're fighting for a future that embraces love and unity." They shared a determined look as they stepped away from the shadows into the dawn of a new day. With every heartbeat, they felt the pull of their connection, grounding them in purpose and resolve. They would lead the charge to redefine what it meant to be from different worlds, spark a revolution of understanding that went beyond their own union. In the days that followed, Amelia and Benjamin worked tirelessly to bridge the gaps between their cultures, standing as symbols of love in a world that had long been taught to fear the unknown. The struggle was arduous, but their passion fueled change, and the seeds of understanding began to blossom in the hearts of their people. Their union marked more than just the mating of a human and an alien. It became a beacon of hope, a testament to the belief that love, once embraced, could conquer fear. And while their journey faced many trials, they stood undeterred, ready to face whatever came next as one. Together, Amelia and Benjamin paved the way for a legacy that celebrated diversity, unyielding in their pursuit of a world reborn from the ashes of the old, one where love triumphed as humanity's most remarkable legacy.